I'm going to tell you some things I learned about eagles from my book. This is an image I got off the web. It tends to work better on a white background. Oh.
You are not allowed to make fun of me. They made me start using a Mac at ISDEC, so I'm like 2 weeks on all my Mac stuff, so I'm kind of nervous and excited all at the same time. So if something goes crazy, just like, wow, that guy is trying really hard. That's the mentality. All right, folks, let's kind of get the prep going. All right, we already said this is what you're supposed to download for later on. This is Hungry Shark Evolution. It's free, that's why we're going to mess around with it. If I get boring, play that. We'll have fun. Okay, the other thing you want to keep in mind is, let's see, is the website. Where's the website? Right here. In fact, I'd go here as soon as you can, just get one tab loaded up. This is Better Learning for Schools. What's it called? That's what I Google, and I go there for a couple reasons. If I go through a bunch of stuff very, very fast, and most of the time I get 2 or 3 hours at least with folks, and we don't have that today, it's all there, okay? In like boring outline form with hyperlinks and little explanations, everything is in there. And the tab you're gonna look for today is the one that says what teachers can learn from video games. It'll have this little icon. When you click on it, it'll have everything from today, okay? The other thing, count if you say thank you. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. You know what you're thanking me for. It's for this, folks. Right up here is iPad apps for educators. Yesterday, I sat through a bunch of sessions. Some of you didn't come. But I went through and tried a bunch of their apps that everybody was showcasing. Some of them were awesome. Some of them were stupid. But these are the really, really good ones. And they have prices next to them. Okay? So they're actually listed by price and usefulness and so on and so forth. So a lot of good presentations yesterday. The best apps that I picked up just yesterday are on that tab. Like my wife's favorite is like Apps Gone Wild or something like that. She's been using that for a while. And it just tells you what apps usually cost $2, $3, $5, $1 million that are all of a sudden free. And so there's a bunch of cool apps on it. Okay, what's the name of the main website? Okay.
And what was the app you wanted us to?
There's that little tab there that says iPad apps for educators.
What was the app you wanted us to download? Hungry Shark.
Hungry Shark. There you go.
Evolution.
Evolution. Okay? Hungry Shark Evolution. What I found is all Apple devices will run it pretty well. If you have like an Android device, I'd probably download just a slightly older version than it, because some people have had problems with the latest release of this Sharky barbaric game. Okay? All right. Every now and then we'll try and get some video clips to make available somehow. So if I like look like I'm talking to a camera and I do a call and response, even if it's a dumb joke, folks, what do we do? Really? That's so funny. Just don't overdo it, okay? Because people know. I don't think anybody else is coming, so here we go. All right, we get started 5 minutes early. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, great, folks. You guys ready to have some fun?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's terrible. Trey, you ready to have some fun?
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we're going to do today. We are going to have some fun learning. We are going to talk about this. Now, we've already asked you to download this in advance. You can play with it at any point if you feel the need to do so. And overall, this is what we're focusing on, is this. What can teachers learn from the video games and video game design themselves? And my name's right there, as well as my email and the website we already pointed you to. And the reason why you want my email is because of this. Every time I've got it worked out, I come to a conference like this, and you can sit in any session, and somebody has a better tool. So at any point you've got something better than what I'm showing you, just be like, this guy's an idiot. And like type in my email and send me a better tool, what you're using it for. I especially want tools that you've already tried out with students. Not necessarily ones that you've heard are really, really cool, but one that you've tried with kiddos that you know that increases their ability to learn. And that's what we're really interested in, okay? So here we go. Short version is this. Anytime somebody gets up and does something like this, I want to know where they're coming from, but not too much, okay? And so somebody said this, if you really want to understand someone on a soapbox, make a good hard look at the soapbox that they stand on. Some really wise dude said that, right? And so basically this is where I'm coming from, 40 and 20. I'm in the process of finishing up, trying to put together 40 years of research that's all about how people learn through games. 20 years of that is actually specifically about video games. Now I know we learn about a bunch of really cool tools at a conference like this, but by the time I mastered Facebook, my students were already done with what? Facebook. And so they're like into Twitter, so I mastered that. Let's use that. And guess what they're on to? Something else. Yeah. And so video games are one of the things that are a constant. For 20 years, they've been ubiquitous enough that we're researching them from an educational perspective. And these are the groups that I get to pal around with. And I bring that up just because I get to see a lot of people's classrooms. And so the only benefit I really have, perspective I can give is, man, when you get to hear the conversations of a lot of people make policy, where they're trying to improve the quality of education assessment, everybody's having the same types of conversations. And it goes like this. We can't get this type of disenfranchised learner to really engage in classrooms, but they'll play video games for hours at a time. Now, why is that? They're trying to connect those two things. I am not a gamer, but I'm taking a good hard look at how many of my kids at school game, and I'm thinking there has to be something there. Okay? We already said the website. What's the name of it? Better Learning for Schools. Got that? And we said we want you to take a look at that tab that has everything from today. And there's also that tab that has iPad apps aggregated as well, because there was a big interest in that. So here we go. I also get to do a lot of staff development. Some of it's supposed to be very serious, most of it not. Okay? Because the whole idea is let's blur the lines between learning and fun for this. This is my lab. These are my lab rats. These are my 8th grade kiddos that left the classroom at the end of the school year to start their summer, and they are fun to watch learn. You can also call those my educational consultants. These are my 4 children. Count 3, say ah. 1, 2, 3. Aww. Those are not my children. I Googled funny looking kids. Now you're like, yeah, now you feel better about my life, don't you? Like, wow, what a beautiful family. Well, I bring that up because my wife teaches special education. She gives me that perspective. And I have 4 boys that I call my educational consultants, especially at summertime, because I get to sit very closely to them and to watch them learn. Well, I get to see what it is that really makes them tick. I watch them play, fight, negotiate, everything like that. And right now I get to see what motivates them. The science teacher at their school was going to throw away a bunch of rocketry stuff. And my kid was like, well, we want that, because most of it's expired and probably dangerous. He's like, it's okay. And so they set it up, and they're blowing things to the sky, which is really cool. And they're learning about rocketry, propulsion, and aerodynamics. When they get bored with that, my second son, Cade, what's his name? Cade. Cade goes, what would happen if, and he starts to fill the cone of this rocket incrementally with steel BBs for a slingshot, to see how much thrust that engine really has. Now I know there's all sorts of safety problems with this, but he takes it to the field right across the street from our house at the middle school, and he starts to launch it off, and time how long it stays in the air. And eventually it crashes, and he's so excited because it's failed, but to him it's a what? It's a success. Isn't that cool to think about? That's how a young person's mind works. But it's interesting that these same boys go to a public school, and a lot of times the conversations are something like this. Oh, your kids, they're so interesting. Which is code for, we spend a lot of time getting your kid to sit still, be quiet, so other people can learn. And we've had 4 boys, and it's been about the same parent-teacher conversation for a long, long time. And that's where I'm coming from. That's my soapbox, everything you need to know about me. Okay? And this is what I'm saying. After all that, human beings are designed to do 2 things. They're wired for learning and for playing. And at a conference like this, no one's going to argue with the first one. We know that we come predisposed to learn. When you have your first child, it's amazing what they pick up on their own. And you're like, I'm such a great parent. But the truth is that they learn on their own, and we can facilitate that. Second part is under debate. Are we really wired for playing? So watch this. We're going to go all Indiana Jones on archaeology, right? Count 3, say wow. 1, 2, 3. Wow. Do you know what that is? That's some of the earliest archaeological evidence that we have, and it's a game in Mesoamerica that they found again and again in Guatemala and Mexico, and it's a game that ancient people played. And if you want to find it, that's what you Google. Games that ancient people played. This is recent research that was published in some highfalutin journal, and it's basically played like these games that I have at my house. Upper left-hand corner, which is Sorry. Bottom right-hand corner is a game my wife kicks my can at every single time called Dirty Marbles. What do you guys call it?
Chinese checkers.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like, it's like you chase each other around and then, yeah, there's different versions of it. But this is a game that's been around as far as archaeological remains of men have been discovered. Okay? And so basically we can say what? This. That's what the whole purpose of the logo is to tell you that games are so simple and built into our design, even a caveman can do it, like they say on the commercial, right? That's what we came wired to do. And I'm also saying this, we don't need more video game playing necessarily, we need better use of video games. I have friends, well, acquaintances, colleagues whose lives, families, marriages are falling apart because they're spending an incessant amount of time playing what? Video games. I'm not saying more use of video games, I'm saying better use of video games. Okay? All right, so here we go. Let's start to look at these video games as powerful learning machines. Now, why would we do this? Well, we're going to start to think like game designers. Many of us in this room have played a game. They're playing one right now. That's nice. So what you're going to do is you're going to start to play it like a game designer. Okay? That's boring. Basically says that everybody plays video games. Raise your hand if you have played a game on your phone or your iPad in the past month. Brilliant. Let's get that set. Okay? And if you really want to impress the people when you go back to your schools, just show them this. It won't scare them. Say, can you create a quiz? And the answer for teachers is what? Absolutely. So they literally can just write their quiz inside of any of these tools. Zomble, ClassTools.net, No Red Ink, that's specifically for language arts, and it makes these games. This is one of my students' favorites. Okay? What is the most interesting country in Europe? The answer is like France or something, right? So they go and like find the answer and they shoot it and it blows up. And then things move around. You can just drag and drop quizzes in or write in questions and answers, and it makes these little games. Now, is that higher level learning? No, but that's cool. And it's a cool place to start if you want to get somebody who's not in this room excited about the games. Okay? It's on the website, promise. We could do something better like this. Let's use video games to teach. This is iCivics. What's it called? iCivics. And the game specifically is Do I Have a Right? Set up like this. You're going to run a law firm and figure out how much you really know about the Bill of Rights. But these people start to come in, and you choose your person, and this is the law firm that I'm going to run. And so I have to know about the Bill of Rights because this guy will come in and say, some policeman said that I had really nice jeans, but then he said he wanted to search me. Is that a violation of my rights? And they have to go through, access the information of the Bill of Rights, and decide. And if they do have a case, they send them and tag them up with a lawyer that works with that particular amendment. Gives you feedback on how well you do. Now, what's my point? This is the chance for young people to explore and interact with content in a way that I wasn't able to do, except for Oregon Trail. I know a lot about the Oregon Trail. I know a lot. I think my kid just went on this trip for like the Santa Fe Trail, which like runs through my front yard. I know nothing about the Santa Fe Trail, even though I live on it practically. I know a lot about the Oregon Trail. Okay. And this is very, very well designed. It's called Do I Have a Right? What's it called? Do I have a right? Now, I use that as an example. This is what well-designed games can do, but not alone. They have to be embedded in a larger context of what? Direct instruction, dialogue, strategy, debriefing, reading and writing. It's one of many tools that we use to supplement rather than supplant learning. Everybody nod if that makes a lot of sense. Turn your head sideways like I just said something to you. Wow, this guy. All right, so here we go. Right now, I want you to do this. Google whatever your primary content area is, plus simulations. What do you teach, sir?
Technology.
Technology. So that's going to be an easy one. Technology. Give me something harder. Pretend you teach something else.
Math.
Math. Okay, so who's going to type in? Brilliant, it's on the slide. Math, simulations, or whatever it is. Just see how many you get. Click on the first three. Let's see what you find. You have 3 minutes, folks. Begin. Two things we want you to pay attention to. How many hits you get on something like Google. But also, what are the first three? Just try them out. Can you just launch them immediately? Do they ask you to download something? Okay, let's pretend 3 minutes passed because we're going to do some more fun things. Okay. There is no shortage of simulations. There is a great shortage, a huge shortage of well-designed simulations. So it's not like the day of you're like, I should just use a language arts simulation. But there are places you can find ones that are better than other ones. One of my favorite sites is this one right here. It's PhET Simulations. What's it called? I teach language arts primarily, and I found simulations at the site that are categorized by grade level, by subject area, and we use them. There's this one where we were reading all these propaganda pieces, fiction and nonfiction, about the fast food industry, restaurants, and so on and so forth. And we went to the site, and the kids, based on the descriptions, chose their body type. They they chose their menu, and they put it onto a plate, what they ate on a daily basis. Then they also did that for their exercise, and they played the simulation, let it run. And it shows you, hypothetically, what will happen to your body type, your health, your heart, all these things. And then we debriefed on that and talked how accurate is that. And they explored and interacted with it, and they loved it. And once I had them, you know what I made them do after that? whatever I wanted. I mean, because once you've got a kid, you can use that as a springboard for the other things that we know work well. Okay? PhET simulations, what's it called? Now I love it because it's designed by teachers in collaboration with instructional designers, in collaboration with video game designers as well, and programmers. When a bunch of people work together on a project like this, it works better. Read the subtext on that, okay? Here we go. This is what we could do as well. You can take commercial video games like Minecraft or SimCity and find ways to use those in the classroom. Now why these? Because kids play these or have played these like crazy. Find uses for them in school. For example, this is
To a
Minecraft.
place where everything is made of box. The ultimate. Let's go wherever you want to go. Climb the tallest mountains. Venture down to the darkest caves. Build anything you want. Day or night, rain or shine. Because this is the most significant sandbox you'll ever set foot in. Build a majestic castle. Invent a new machine, or take a ride on a roller coaster. Play with friends. Build your own little community. Protect yourself with the strongest armor that you can craft. And fight off the dangers of the night. No one can tell you what you can or cannot do. With no rules to follow. This adventure, it's up to you.
Now how would you rate the graphics of that game? My students will play this for hours on end. It's a horizontal learning space where they can go and they can muck around and figure out how to do this. And they kind of go up a level and try something new and they explore. They go, what if I want to start to collaborate with other people? This is a sandbox, a virtual sandbox where they can go and do anything they want until we get a hold of it, create a problem or a problem space and say, this is what I'd like you to do. These are the only resources I want you to do it with. And so that's what we're really looking at right now is we're working with a couple teachers. They're going to do Animal Farm in collaboration with social studies and language arts. So they're going to do the historical stuff. They're going to do the language artsy stuff. But we're also going to create an animal farm. So you get to be a pig and you get to be a dog and you're going to do the sheep and so on and so forth. And they're going to experience a communist regime within what? Minecraft. These suckers. Because they're going to love it. And we can tie that to anything that we want them to do. Guess whose idea that was? The students. Could we do this in like Minecraft? And like, anytime a kid says, can we try this? What's the answer to that, folks?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. You need to think of them also as like video games as design tools. We were doing this project where kids had to design their own amusement park. So we were reading and writing about what? Amusement parks, the physics that go behind them, construction and so on and so forth. They had to build a final working model out of recyclable materials that actually worked, like their brand new amusement park ride. And a kid says, can I do mine in Minecraft? What's the answer to that?
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely, anytime they say that. And so he comes back, and this is what he's done, folks. He's used one of the most basic concepts in physics, gravity. He found the tallest point in this world, where he spawned in, and he built scaffolding. He went and mined the wood, got the iron, found rock to build this little cart. And he goes up to the top and he built ladders and tracks and hills and drops. And you're going to get seasick because this is better than any roller coaster that I've ridden on. And he designed it. Now as you're watching him go up and so on and so forth, how long do you think this young man worked on this? But if I told him to do it on my terms, this is what you're going to do, how long would he have worked on it? So he's built this. And the cool thing is if you I don't want to take your time to do this. If you go somewhere else in the world and look, it looks like it's a roller coaster that's suspended in the world, just suspended in the air. Because what he did is, to make it cool, he knocked out almost every piece of scaffolding. So it's like it floats in the air and then drops you off into the water and so on and so forth. They can be used as design tools. And free tools that I have messed around with, like Scratch and Blender, these are amazing because we do this with elementary school kids. We let them start to do basic programming, but more logic. And then in high school, we have a course now that works with Blender, where kids actually author 3D interactive environments. But we're thinking of them not as games, but as what? Learning tools, design tools. That's the whole thing. Okay? So if you've got something better than that right now, email it to me, courtesy@esdac.org. And I know if you were in the last session with me, you have several tools that work better than that, because I sat and listened to this gentleman that had us dissect games. And he said, if you want your kids to design, here are some tools that you can use. He had a bunch of those. All right? Now, we could play some games, and that's what we really came here to do, right? So here we go. So what we're going to do, we're going to play it like a game designer. What's the game we're going to play? The shark game, right? We have 3 minutes. How long? 3. But you're not just gonna play, folks. Think like a game designer. I want you to play it and say, this is hard. What's the first thing you're gonna say? This is hard. But then figure out what is embedded in this game to get you to persist in this task, okay? Ready? Have some fun, folks. Go.
Why will we wait 30 minutes to replay Candy Crush? Secrets to make it faster.
Because I can't have this is the agency's the IT guy's password. So
Stop smiling, stop laughing. This is a serious... No, it's not. You can't get yours to work. You can just watch what's up here. It'd be more fun to get a shoulder buddy. Just like lean over way too close until they finally offer to give you your phone today. Oh yes, I would like to try. Thank you. Thank you.
giant enemy crabs.
90 seconds of play left.
Doesn't move very fast. Think whatever you're
That's the educational version. So type in like educational version of Minecraft. And the guy's got like a weird Italian sounding name. And he's the contact for it. All right, folks, I need you to stop. I know. Or you can keep playing, okay? If you want to keep playing and look up here briefly, that's fine as well. What we're trying to figure out is this. I've got this kid that I can't pay to solve a problem in my classroom if it's in reading, writing, mathematical, science form. But kids will play these for hours and hours. How much does this cost? Nothing. It's free. This is what a young man or young woman gets to do for free. And if I do things in my classroom the same way that I've always done them, can you see there might be a disconnect between their world and what I'm trying to do inside the world that I'm creating for them, the learning environment in our school. So let's take a look at this really quick. We're going to think like a game designer. What are some things that you notice this game does to make sure you're successful? Call some out.
It gave you direction.
What's that?
It gave you
It
direction.
gave you direction. Did it give you tons of directions?
No, but I must not have read. They must have been too long for me.
She said they gave me too much, so I skipped. Now in this game, if you skip the directions and you start to screw up, it will say, you're screwing up, and start to give some hints and stuff. So it kind of is just-in-time learning as well. Thank you. Anything else that you noticed?
interactive.
It's completely interactive. It's immersive to the point that you're underwater, actually. I'm a shark. And not like that kind of shark, but the shark. You know what I'm talking about? What else is it using?
Makes you feel good when it eats a fish.
It's like, you just destroyed another living creature. Yes! There is positive reinforcement.
You have instant feedback if you do the wrong thing.
That's right.
Like find a jellyfish.
Yeah. If you screw up immediately, it tells you. If you do something well, there's color, there's even like a rumble sometimes. This is well designed. And how much does it cost?
Nothing.
So let's see if we can think like a game designer. What can we as teachers learn from the design of video games? Okay, this is James G. He's written books about it, and he's identified 36 game principles. That'd be a long presentation. Okay? There's another guy named Seth Priebosh. What's his name? He runs a company, and so let's say that he's selling plates with forks and crumbs from Brownies. Okay? He goes to Seth Priebosh's company and says, I want to sell this. Seth Priebosh uses 100 plus game dynamics to build a marketing thing around it. He uses the same things that are used in video games to sell things. In other words, there are people making money off of controlling people through video games. Now, that's worth looking into as a teacher. So here are the 7 that we're going to focus on today. We're going to try. We'll see how many we get to. Okay? If I were going to take a picture of any slide, that's be the one I take a picture of, or remember it's on the website. I'll give you 10 seconds to see who's the quickest. So we've got fun, active, and immersive learning, control and choice, customization and co-design, narrative context, first and problem spaces, collaboration, feedback, movement, and multimodal. Yes, I just read the entire slide to her. My wife hates that. She's like, why do you put a slide up and read it to them?
Because we're playing a game.
That's right. Exactly.
Where can I find this presentation on the WordPress site?
It's the one that says what teachers can learn from video games. It's a tab at the top.
But the specific presentation.
We're going to video it, and we'll make it available for you. Promise. We'll work it on. So this is, you'll have everything in outline form, plus the resources, and you got it. So here we go. Folks, this is what a movie looked like when I was a kid. These were the coolest movies I'd go and see. These are what video games look like now. So my movies are now the things that they play. Do you remember the games you played as kids? Atari, Nintendo? We played Mario Brothers, my wife and I, over and over and over again. But it'd be like, you could only move left to right, and if you tried to go back, what would happen? You could like walk in the same place and like, wow, it's incredible what young people get to play. Fun, active, and immersive. Now, what could that look like in schools? At home, this is what this young person looks like when he's playing these games. You put him in a classroom, what does he look like? Show me that face, folks. So what could that look like in schools? That's what we're trying to figure out. I was working with a young lady who was about to start teaching. She was a student teacher, and I came in and I said, so what are you going to teach today? You know, laid out like 3 or 4 things. What are you going to do today? She said, today we're going to talk about the connection between Rasputin and the Romanovs. I'm like, fascinating. And she looked at me and she was like, which I learned later was teenage girl talk for, I'm going to show you something. And so I sat down and watched, and these young people start to come in. They're in 9th grade. What grade are they in? 9th. So you're now 9th grade. Stand up. Pretend you're coming into class. What you're going to do is whatever is in the middle of the screen. Point to the middle of the screen. Okay? But whatever's coming is going to be in the bottom right-hand corner. Okay? Point to the middle. All right, so we're coming into class. Move your feet. I'm going to try this again. So don't look at your neighbor, just look straight in. You just want to do your arms, that's fine. What's coming next? Hey, you're 9th grade, keep going. Now, she's handing out the song lyrics right now. She just lets him go. Now they start singing about Rasputin. All right, sit here. Exactly. We keep hearing that "aw" type thing. That's how she started her class. And she lets him go. The bell has rung. She sits him down and she hands out, she's had these lyrics handed out to the song. She goes, you know what we're going to learn about today? We're like, no, but it's going to be cool. So yes, it is. Today we're going to talk about the connection between Rasputin and the Romanovs. She has them recited. And this is all you need to know. She hands out the song lyrics. She says, circle this, this, and this. That will be on your assessment. She said, cross off this, 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 and this. This is a contemporary song, which means there's a lot of stuff that's not historically accurate. But I also want you to add in this, and this, and this. That will be on the assessment. And then she said, after 5 minutes, which is all this lesson took, what questions do you have about Rasputin or the Romanovs? Can you see the way she approached it? And afterwards she looked at me and said, what? Exactly. Now I will show this for a while. I've shown this for years. Because here's an example of someone said what? Fun, active, and immersive. This is what the military uses. When I grew up on military bases, they were loud. If I was on an Air Force base, you could hear what going overhead? Rumbles. By an Army base, you could hear artillery shells going doosh, doosh. Does anybody here live close to a military base now? You know what it sounds like now, 90% of the time? That's right. That's exactly what it sounds like. Because they train in these cool network things that look like oversized porta potties, which is where they do most of their training. And it's immersive. Just like that game, I got to experience and interact with the content. And you don't need technology to do this. Last week's we needed to do some descriptive writing, and the kids were doing that thing that kids do towards the end of school. Show me that look they had, folks. And so they came in, and we had taken all these jars of pickled pig's feet, put one on each table, and uncapped them. And they came in, and they were like, what does that smell? I'm like, that's school. And we came in, and we sat them down and said, these are pickled pig's feet. We want you to come up with as many descriptive phrases as you can possibly do. Bonus points if you can use beyond similes and metaphors. We want personification, illusion. But whatever you do, don't eat the pickled pig's feet. They're going to make you sick. Inevitably, one person at each table did what? So I remember like there's this girl who was like grasping the table, and she's like, ugh. They're like, what does it taste like? She's like, it's a salty, raspy eyeball covered in sandpaper. And they wrote that down. That team did pretty well. But folks, there's no technology. It's just how can we do what video games do inside of our own classroom? Make them fun, active, and immersive. What are we going to do? Okay? And what we need to do is just this. I know we need to ask ourselves, how can I get my students to learn this? But wouldn't it be better if we did what video games do? Just get them to do this. How can I get my students to experience this? That's the only change in mindset. And video games often do it better than a lot of teachers. Okay? This is Mike West. He teaches at Kansas State University and does cultural anthropology. How many of you have taken a course in anthropology? Fascinating stuff. Turn to somebody at your table and tell them everything you remember from that course. Go. Sorry, this won't take long. All right, folks, this is Mike West's class. He is a smart individual. He realizes that young people take to things that are fun, active, and immersive. And so what he's done is he's designed a simulation in his classroom. Okay? This is Twitter in the world. So he takes history and he simulates it using Twitter, Jot, whatever they're into at the time. His room is set up like these fake continents. They're assigned to cultures. So they get to colonization, and this group actually goes over and starts to take over this group under the banner of Nixala, or whatever it is that they make up. They trade, they have natural resources. This is what the classroom looks like, right-hand side. Okay? It's simulated to look just like the map. Now here's the funny thing. He went to his department and says, I want to do this. And they said, that's great, but we don't have a room that would do this, because all the rooms are designed like what? Classrooms. So we had to go to the K-State Union, okay, and use one of their rooms for years and years and years. These are his classroom resources. I want you to point to the 3 objects that probably represent the most valuable objects in this anthropology experiment.
Scissors.
Why? Fruit Loops were, actually you've got 2 of them.
To be able to make things.
So you're talking about tools out of a very resilient, why Fruit Loops? Because they're Fruit Loops, folks.
I'm thinking as a college student. Sugar.
That's right. And so they had all these natural resources or technology, and then like many continents, in the real world, some had more than others and so on and so forth. You talk to one of Mike Wesh's kids and ask them what they remember from cultural anthropology. What did you notice about those young people that look different from your cultural anthropology class?
They got to move.
Now show me your face in cultural anthropology. Right. Fun, active, and immersive, folks. Instead of saying, how can I get my students to learn this, what do we say? To experience it. That's exactly right. There's our first one. Now, here's another game dynamic. This game dynamic is called choice and control. My wife uses this on me all the time. It took me a while to figure this out. She took these courses that told you how to like raise kids in brilliant ways. And she came home and she's like, we're going to have broccoli tonight. Do you want broccoli plain or with cheese? Well, with cheese. I am the man. I decide I want cheese on my broccoli. It took me a while to figure out she was getting me to do what? Eat broccoli. It works on children. Little kids and big kids as well. Video games do it all the time. Okay, this is Angry Birds. How many of you played this before? Played in the last month? Anybody playing it right now? All right, we're okay then. How's it designed? Do you have to do it a specific way?
No.
choice and control. You can choose, you can control the features. If you don't want to do it this version, you can do the Star Wars version. You can do the hyper, change it however you want. What could this look like in schools? What if when kids came in the first day, you had 2 assignments like this? We said, we want you to choose between these 2 technologies. On the left-hand side is a flow rider. What's it called? Flow rider. I've seen them on cruise ships where you can surf and, break bones and noses on. I know this firsthand because the first time Mr. Chandler tried the flow rider, he broke what? His nose. Kids love that stuff. The right-hand side is called an iFly. What's it called? iFly. You can see what it is. Turn to somebody next to you and tell them what an iFly is. Time out. Here's the only hard part. I need you to choose which one you'd rather do an assignment on. You just figure that out. When I say go, I want you to point to the one that you want to do your assignment. Ready, set, go. But now you're like, oh, I chose it. Broccoli with cheese. Suckers, guess what you're eating? Broccoli. If we take the time to prepare 2 completely similar assignments as far as what they have to read, the types of questions, the write-in assignments, the projects, whatever, just let them choose, young people will engage in that because they've exercised a little bit of choice and control. Now, it's a lot more work for us on the front end, but is it worth it? How many times have you put that much work into something that they didn't engage at all? All right.
This is Treasure Island, Chapter 1.
Upper left-hand corner.
The old sweetheart of this.
Video's terrible because he took it with his phone.
Stop off the sunny beach, gravel river at the distance. Shows a man walking up to that river. And after that river, you call me.
So here's the assignment. You have to read a few chapters in Treasure Island. I want you to synthesize the important details. Now you have a couple options. You can just retell the story using pictures and words, but I don't want to see your face, okay? Or you can do what we've done in the past, which is like a scrapbook, which is the young lady in the bottom left-hand corner, okay? Or you can say, you can do one of those 2 options, or if you want to come up with another way to do it, I would love to hear about that. How many choices have we given them? 3, okay? Upper left-hand corner, kid loved this. Using his voice, is making people laugh. Bottom left-hand corner, she was very creative. Had a young man come to me and say, can I do it my own way? What's the answer to that?
Yes.
Now this kid does not have money. He has somebody's rip-off, knockoff version of Windows, so the only tools he has are Microsoft Paint and an old version of Windows Movie Maker. This is what he did.
Whether you weren't paying attention, good job. White.
Well, it looks like we're stuck on this ship until we can find a way to get back. I'm too drunk to know how to get back, so Jim, we're gonna have to start your training at once. You don't mean? Yes, Jim, you're gonna be a pirate.
Okay, this goes on for 7.5 minutes. How many individual pictures did he draw on Microsoft Paint? He dropped it into Windows Movie Maker and sped up the frame rate to like 0.5 seconds, which is as fast as I think you can, or 0.25 or something like that. So it looks like it's animated. And he came the day of the project, and he's like, I can't wait to show you this. I'm like, are you okay? I haven't slept all night. And he's smiling. Been working on it for weeks. All because he said, can I do it my own way? And what's the answer to that?
Yeah.
Now, you can't just, kids don't show up and be like, hello, I'm such and such, I'd like to do things my own way. We have to foster an environment where kids feel comfortable asking us. And the easiest way I know how to do that is, you may have broccoli with cheese, or you may select a vegetable. And that's what we do with young people, and they choose.
I'm Captain James D. Quirk. On this episode of Tool Tips,
This is
we'll
extra
go
normal, it's
where
kind of
no
old
one has
school, but it's
gone
getting better and
before.
better.
Today, we'll review the educational version of Extranormal.
Captain, isn't extra?
Now I'm bored already. So basically, slide says this. These are a bunch of tools that you can animate just like that. If you have no animation experience, go to these places. Extra normal, you choose a character, a background, you type it in, and they talk for you. And every now and then you can say, make Kirk wave, and do that head bob thing. It's ridiculously easy. Now what would you use that for? Well, the final step, we're going to make an animation movie. It's your publishing part. But you need to follow this step, and this step. Bunch of tools. And they're all listed on the site, folks. Okay?
I'm Captain
Yes, I know that. This is one of my favorite things to do is when kids come in for Romeo and Juliet, the room's taped off and we've got like 6 dead bodies chopped on the floor and police tape up. And they come in and they're like, what's going on? I'm like, well, today we're going to do this. And this is Voki, this is my voice. If you are Italian American, I apologize, okay? It's set in Verona. I was trying to do my very best culturally offensive accents.
Hello, students. My name is Rigoni Battoni, and I am an old peasant here in Verona, Italy. I have lived here many years, but never before have I seen something as terrible as this. For over the past few days, 6 of our citizens have lost their lives. You are the prince of our fair city, and as such, it is now your job to listen to the events that have transpired, to investigate and gather information and evidence, and to determine who shall be punished for these crimes and what shall be their sentence.
Instead of just reading Romeo and Juliet, we've got 6 dead bodies, folks. Let's figure out who to punish and who to pardon, which, by the way, the last 14 lines or so of Romeo and Juliet is all about that. Who shall we punish? Who shall we pardon? Okay? But now they're engaged. Now, if you want to do some animation tools on your iPad, there you go. My top 2 are Sock Puppets and ArtMaker. A lot of fun. A lot of fun. Upper right-hand corner, thanks to someone else that does that.
Hey, Cooper. Hey, Macy. What are you doing today? I just read the funniest book. Oh, really? Tell me more about it. Well, it's about a maid who does some really hilarious...
Book report via Sock Puppet animation. You show young people one of these, grades 4 and below, like, that's what I get to do? Absolutely. We take them through the same steps. Because once you've got them, folks, what do they eat? Broccoli. Okay, here we go. Let's try this. I'm going to spend more time on this one tomorrow, but this is a lot of fun. We've got 4 boys at home during the summer, which means we've got a lot of time to fill stuff up with. So this is something called Educreations. What's it called? Educreations. Okay. It's a lot of fun. There are other ones that work the same way. Now, Educreations is literally just a whiteboard surface. You can import a picture and talk through it, right? Okay. So here we go. Educreations. First time doing something on an iPad. I'm nervous and excited. All right, so here we go. We could just import a picture of volcano, because what are we going to study? Volcano. So new lesson, right? Now, right up here at the very, very top, we just choose a picture. We're going to take a diagram of a volcano from the web. So we should probably just type in what? Diagram, volcano.
Oh, yeah.
And hopefully we'll find one that doesn't have any answers on it. Anybody see one? First one? All right, why not? We'll do that. So find some picture of a volcano. And I'm supposed to know that that part is this, and this, since I'm not familiar with volcanoes. That's a lot of different pieces we're going to have to know. We'll try it. Okay, we're going to hit record, and it's going to record everything I do here and everything with my voice, right? Well, hello. Today we're going to talk about volcanoes. I, as a student of Mr. Chandler's class, I'm going to tell you everything that we've learned. This thing here is called the, wait, no, that's not it. This thing over here is called the yeah. And this over here is the chimney thing. What are these parts called? This is the Earth's important part, and so on and so forth. Man, I'm a science teacher. Same lesson. Call it blah, 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 blah. Next. Save. Why not? Cancel. Okay. We've got it. Now let's hit play and see what happens. Well, hello. Today we're going to talk about volcanoes. I, as a student of Mr. Chandler's class, now what could you do with that? You ask kids to read this, and at the end I want you to tell me everything that you possibly can. Have them label the picture or so on and so forth. And what we're doing is we're getting them to demonstrate, one, that they know, and also put them in charge of something called metacognition, regulating whether or not they know something. Because if a kid loads up a volcano picture, like me, is like, no idea what those things are. Goes back and takes a look and says, Mr. Chandler, I was not paying attention. Oh, really? We talk about it again, learn it again. You have to demonstrate that you know. Now, there are several tools that you can do that with. Raise your hand if you know of a tool that's better than that to use.
Doceri.
There you go. Doceri works really well. Anybody have another one?
Explain everything.
Explain everything is another one. One more.
What's
What's that?
Ask 3.
There you go. And so what you're probably going to search for is screencasting tools. We have 4 so listed on the website. Probably would have helped if I would have studied wall paintings. Remember that next time. Lost my clicker, folks. First one to find it? All right. Edge Creations is out. All right, so what's the coolest tool you've got? We talked about that. We can skip that one. Okay, control and choice. What if instead we said, okay, you have to do this writing part, but I want you to choose the project that goes along with it. In this case, they had to design a restaurant. What did they have to design? Just after reading and writing fiction, nonfiction text about restaurants. So we said you can only use, give us something, you can only use food or recyclable items or something. Build a model to scale that looks like your restaurant. You have to have 1 person in it at least. How many people? 1. So if your person is this tall and your ceiling is this tall, we've got a problem to scale, right? Say, or since you guys are in a Minecraft really, why don't you design something in Minecraft? So bottom left-hand corner, this is just First Hour. I was just filming their projects. This young lady who does practically nothing for anybody designed this restaurant where you can sit and watch gladiator games out of the materials she had at home. She could spend no money. What was the rule? So this is as resourceful as she got. This is another person who built it out of a flower pot. Char loves to see her face on everything, and that's why her face is everywhere. Now in the middle is a young man who did it in Minecraft. This is a place called Fresh Meat. Have you ever been to one of those seafood places where you can see your lobster behind glass and you get to pick it? So before he built his restaurant, he and his friends got on Minecraft for 3 hours and herded these Minecraft cows down a chute and built up a glass case around them and built tables and chairs. So now you can pick what? He has just recently added a pork section and a chicken section. Yes? And so in the middle is this restaurant, and you know it's fresh, folks, because it's still moving. How much time did he spend herding the cows?
3 hours.
That's before construction even began, folks. And had he done it my way, no, you have to do it this way, how long would he have taken? What would he have learned? Now, I said, wow, he's like, I had to learn how to do this, I had no idea. But as a group, we figured it out in Minecraft. Okay, this is a game called Street Fighter 2. This is the first game that my friends got addicted to in middle school. Some of you are nodding like, yeah, buddy, you're playing it right now. That's right. Okay, here's the premise, it's simple. Kill the other person. You get to choose your character, right? All culturally offensive stereotypes. Notice T-Hawk. Representing Native Americans in the most culturally offensive way. Left-hand side is Ryu, a Japanese street fighter. Now, this is not culturally sensitive material.